Out of all of the Sonic the Hedgehog characters, the two that stick out most for me are Miles Tails Prower and Shadow the Hedgehog, both of whom were my favorite characters upon me first seeing them. I was first exposed to Tails when I got a demo of Sonic Adventure DX for the Nintendo GameCube, and even though I much preferred Sonic's gameplay, I kept gravitating back to Tails's. And keep in mind, I'm talking about the demo, where all I got was one action stage of Sonic being able to run through Emerald Coast, which is a much more enjoyable experience than Miles Tails Prower snowboarding. I digress. Tails has nothing to do with this. However, this does lead into the nostalgia that I mentioned earlier. Nostalgia that is a very key factor both towards my Sonic discussion and my Life is Strange discussion. Sonic as a franchise was something that I grew up with very heavily as a child. He became one of my heroes as a kid. And Shadow the Hedgehog sort of became I don't want to say a role model, but he sort of embodied the cool factor. He embodied coolness more so than Sonic. Even though Sonic and Knuckles are very much cool characters in their own right, it was Shadow that he didn't try to be cool, he just was. Because he was more mature. Which lends into the fact that I got this demo of Sonic Adventure DX in 2003. I finally played the game proper in 2004, and that's when I became engrossed with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And again, because Sonic Adventure DX was my first experience, I gravitated more towards Tails. However, when I rented Sonic Heroes next, that was when I was finally exposed to Shadow, and even though I still had a bond more so with Tails, and to a degree Knuckles, Shadow was who stuck out to me most in Team Dark, even though Omega, who I mistook for Gamma, that's a whole other can of worms, that's not important. Shadow was a very fascinating character. However, there was so much context missing. And I knew based on dialogue from Amy in the Team Rose campaign that Sonic Adventure 1 slash Sonic Adventure DX took place before Sonic Heroes. But it didn't phrase properly that Sonic Adventure 2 Battle takes place between those two games. And that was when I was finally exposed to Shadow the Hedgehog. And helped me understand the context of what was going on in Shadow's backstory. Then I play Shadow the Hedgehog, and it's one of the first games I was excited to play wherein the protagonist uses a gun. Now keep in mind, I had already played like Turok Evolution, I had already played Star Fox Adventures, and even though he doesn't use guns in the sense that you fire bullets, he uses a blaster. He doesn't use it in Star Fox Adventures, but he does use it in the direct sequel, Star Fox Assault. But Shadow was going to be the cool, edgy boy that uses guns and swear words. And me and a lot of other young teenage boys that were my age, including some of my best friends at the time, we were all quoting our favorite lines from Shadow the Hedgehog. "Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald? You're going straight to hell. Damn it." And so on. Anyway, um, so back then, Shadow was the one that was the most popular for a lot of kids my age, and myself included. Shadow became the new favorite character. And he persisted to be one of my favorite characters for a very long time, even when I gave up on the Sonic franchise after playing Sonic Unleashed. I hadn't played Sonic and the Black Knight, I didn't play Sonic 06 yet, and a few other spin-off games. So the last mainline game I played before Unleashed was Sonic Riders, which came after Shadow the Hedgehog. No wait, I did play Sonic and the Secret Rings. But that's not relevant. After Sonic Unleashed, I gave up on the franchise. I played the PlayStation 2 version, which is considered the worst of every port of Sonic Unleashed. And I, a couple of years ago, got Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360, and guess what? It's not much better. The Werehog thing, for me, is just too much. But it didn't make me give up on the franchise the way the PlayStation 2 did a long time before. In fact, I obviously didn't give up on the franchise because I played Sonic Unleashed after playing Sonic Forces. But ironically, what got me back into playing Sonic games again was Sonic Generations and Sonic 06. Both games were on the Xbox 360. Both games were, in my opinion, a significant improvement on Sonic Unleashed. One, because it came out before and didn't have any of the shit that Sonic Unleashed had. The other, because it came out after and was trying to fix what Sonic Unleashed had done. And, Shadow was a very big part of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. And actually this interest in playing those games came from finally touching my Dreamcast and discovering online shopping, and one of the things I bought was a Dreamcast copy of Sonic Adventure 2. This was after I had played the GameCube version so thoroughly, so I was looking forward to playing the same game again through its original hardware. And evidently that was enough for me to want to play Sonic 06 and Sonic Generations, which was the newest game at the time, and I had great fun. I beat Sonic Generations within 3 days, and it took me about a month to beat Sonic 06. You can bet that had to do with a lot of wrestling with glitches, but it didn't matter to me. It was a cool story, it had an awesome soundtrack, and it had great new characters. It had Mephiles the Dark and Silver the Hedgehog, two characters that are very closely connected to Shadow. And, of course, it had Shadow's very own campaign. And it's agreed by pretty much everybody that the Shadow campaign was the best part of Sonic 06. His best portrayal, and the most interesting story and villain. Now, say what you will about Princess Elise and her furry romance with Sonic the Hedgehog, but honestly, considering the game came out a year before Mass Effect, where you can romance an Asari, and in later games you can romance a Turian, a Quarian, and I forget any of the, a Drell, a human and a hedgehog just don't seem as gross. And I don't mean to call romancing Garrus, Tali, Liara, or Thane gross romances at all. I love those characters. But the fact is, these came out after Princess Elise, and therefore they are seen, for some reason, as acceptable compared to the Princess Elise Sonic fiasco. But this has nothing to do with Shadow. What does have to do with Shadow is that he was the best part of Sonic 06 considered so by a lot of people. And me playing Sonic 06 was in part this nostalgia towards the older adventure era games that I had played years before. Something that playing Sonic Unleashed ruined for me until I played Sonic 06. And, I mean, since then I still played Sonic games after playing Sonic 06, but I was never so excited to play a new Sonic game until I saw the trailers for what I thought was a mod or a hoax, Shadow Generations. And it came at a very interesting time in my life, as did the announcements for Life is Strange Double Exposure, and that is something I will get into another time.